This is Ajahn Brahm here from Jhana Grove on a Tuesday, the 2nd of June. And just to give a little guided meditation, a little talk beforehand. I know that some people did ask me to say something about what to do when one is feels disempowered because you may be overseas and your family and friends are in places which have got turmoil, either through the COVID-19 or through political turmoil. And there are sometimes that we look around, there's nothing much we can seem to be able to achieve. It seems all the forces against us are stronger than us. It always reminds me of the stories which I've gathered over those years. And the story of obviously the man who was a fellow school teacher who was in Burma at the time during the Second World War, surrounded by the enemy. Only 6 or 7 people in his troop of British soldiers. Totally surrounded, vastly outnumbered, what to do? And of course there was nothing to do. Any action was pointless. So what his captain told him to do was to sit down and have a cup of tea in the middle of the jungle, at war, about to die, so he thought. But life is so uncertain, you never know what's going to happen next. And so they did follow the instructions there, and of course, things do change. This anicca, the impermanence, the unreliability of trying to predict what will happen in our world. And so, they sat down, and before the tea was finished, they found the surrounding forces had moved. They could find a way out, which is why he could tell the story. And so often in life, that sort of problems happen to us. We're in a situation we feel we should be doing something. But sometimes waiting and pausing is a very powerful, powerful way of solving problems. Or waiting until there's something which is worthwhile to achieve. And then one escapes and one learns a wonderful thing in life, is how to relax when there's nothing you can do. And just wait for something to happen. Of course, that is not just a copping out of life, but actually doing something very positive. And the other thing which I always remember is having meditation and got out there into the world, especially places like prisons, and meeting some people who are supposed to be very bad men, but I never met a bad man or a bad woman. Inside their hearts, there's very beautiful hearts, but sometimes they're forced to do things which they don't know what else to do. Even like prime ministers and presidents, have beautiful hearts inside. If you can touch those hearts inside and give them some confidence and courage so they can just be at ease rather than trying to live up to some egotistical idea of who they think they should be, then they can become wonderful people. And one of the stories, which of course I wrote about at length in a book many, many years ago, was because I was in Thailand for 9 years. I would travel in the jungles, there were jungles then, in the mountains, and could speak both Central Thai and the Laotian dialect called the Isan language. I could communicate so easily. And I always remember that after the collapse of Phnom Penh and Vientiane and Saigon, when those 3 countries fell, the governments of the West made all the Western monks register their locations because they expected that Thailand, especially the northeast of Thailand, to fall next. So we all had to register with people in the nearest city to be evacuated when the invasion came. But at that time, talking to many generals and people who knew what was happening in Thailand, they said they were not afraid of being invaded. They were afraid of the local Thais students were not happy with their government and had become like communists and were in the jungles in the forests of Thailand. And the government of Thailand at that time, I must admit, I was impressed. The governments sometimes take the easy option, but this government at that time took a Buddhist option. They knew where those insurgents were. They knew where their camps were. They could have gone in there with superior forces and blown them all up, but they had a wonderful strategy of non-violence. They knew if they hurt just one of their opposition, then they would have two people join up where one person was killed, their friends and relations. So they had non-violence. They had amnesty. Anytime those students wanted to surrender, they were not put in jail. Their guns were taken away and they went back to work or went back to their village or went back to their universities with almost no questions asked. At the same time, the government for once decided to listen. Why are you fighting? What's wrong? And there were so many poor areas of Thailand at the time. And so the government, especially the King of Thailand, put lots of money, lots of resources in the poor places to bring them electricity, to bring them medical supplies, until the point was that the government was supported by the people. There was no reason to fight. Little by little, those enemy forces gave in. They went back to their jobs, went back to their universities, went back to their homes. But eventually what happened, and this was why I always get inspired by this, the leaders of the insurgency, the main rebels who were responsible for attacks on many army posts and many people being killed, they gave themselves up as well. They had no resources left to fight the government. And the beautiful thing was, they were not put in jail. They were not interrogated or put against a wall and shot. Instead, they were forgiven almost immediately. And they were given very good jobs in the civil service. Their ability to organize, to sacrifice, to put their own safety second to what they thought was the benefit of their friends and relations in the villages and provinces. But that was much more important for them. Why not make use of their abilities and let them join up the government? And once, many years ago, when I told this story this was in Sydney, and the Thai ambassador was listening, and when it came question time, he stood up, put his hand up and said, "Yes, that is true, but you left out something." He said two of those leaders who were trying to overthrow the Thai government were now serving as ministers in the current government. It was so inspiring. People sometimes do bad things. We seem to be bad things. But their intentions are sometimes very noble and wonderful. They want peace, they want prosperity, they want fairness or whatever. It's just trying to make those people, their motivation also become good actions too. And sometimes one of those good actions is learning how to be patient. It takes time. Sometimes when I see violence on the internet channels, on the news sites, young people are terribly impatient. So if we can give patience to the youth and give forgiveness to the elderly and bring hope all along, it's wonderful what this world can achieve. Yeah, there's many mistakes made in our life, in our world. But it's wonderful also to see how those mistakes when we don't make them worse by punishing, when we don't get angry because we don't see the full picture of why a person did what they did. We can have the Buddhist values of forgiveness, compassion, and patience. It's amazing just how this world can evolve into something very beautiful and positive. You may think that I'm just too idealistic, and I've lived in a monastery for too long. But sometimes that idealism and that hope, it just gives another type of energy to people's hearts. Not the energy to seek revenge. I've been hurt, so I have to hurt somebody else. But an energy of trying to make sure that the injuries, the loss, the problems which have happened to you or your relations don't create more problems. So we can have some peace in our world, at least for a while, so we can learn another way of dealing with the difficulties of life. And of course, where did monks learn such things? We learn such things because that's exactly how I practice my own meditation. Of course, there are problems and there are mistakes which happen in my meditation. But when they happen, you never try and punish yourself or feel upset at yourself. Instead, you learn how to learn from the mistakes of life. And when I talk to other people, the other monks who are meditating, they make mistakes, they're stupid sometimes. And I remember when I made those same mistakes and was even more stupid. So you don't punish, you don't demean, you accept, embrace, learn, and grow. And that's a lot of times that even wonderful patience. You can't just sit down there and just get into deep meditation just immediately because you haven't got much time. No, it takes time to learn how to calm this mind down. And of course, you can never calm a mind down when it is burdened by all the worries of your past. Worries of the past, because it's the past. Just be allowed to tell you that that's how the future is going to be as well. The past does not predict the future. It's how we deal with the past is how the future is made. And the best way of dealing with the past is to forgive it, let it go. We don't learn so much from the past. I often say you learn from the present moment. Right now is where your future is made. I don't really consider just what my last meditation was like. I'm never burdened by the success or failure of what has happened. Instead, I let that totally go and I'm free. Free is like this is my first meditation ever in my whole life. And when it's first, you're carrying no baggage from the past, no problems to mend, nothing to prove, nothing to aim for or hope for in the future. Just being in this moment, patient, waiting for this moment to develop. I always notice I'm a not firm believer, but firm confidence in the law of karma. If I make good karma in this moment, being kind, being patient, being gentle, if I'm kind in this moment, always my future turns out to be the best. So anger, impatience, force, disappointment, fear, all those which you can recognize as negative emotions. I know that they're called negative emotions because they lead to negative outcomes. So I always make sure that where I can do something, where you can do something, in this moment, right now, please make sure you're making peace. Being kind, being gentle. no matter what's happening around you, you'll find that that leads to the best outcomes. It's like faith in the law of karma, your personal karma, how you're doing things. If more people sat down to make peace, be kind, be gentle, imagine what a world we will have. It starts with you. And even if no one else does that, you're doing that. I wanted to tell the story. There was a Vietnamese monk, an elderly monk, who came to visit here many, many years ago. And he had been in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. And the government soldiers would come to his temple to meditate, to listen to Dhamma, get blessings. So would the communist soldiers. They too would come to his temple and receive blessings. He was such a good monk. He was respected by all. His goodness was not political. And it made both sides a little bit more tolerant and peaceful towards one another. I corresponded to a story even earlier. If anyone knows the history of UK, Henry VIII, he'd lost a bit of money and he had this wonderful idea to get some more money for his government and also to solve the problem of marrying his wives. It was actually to dissolve the Catholic Church and make himself head of the Anglican Church, and at the same time to take all the monasteries with its vast wealth and make sure they became the property of the Crown. But even though that, because I was born in London, I know this area so well, even though that Henry VIII's main residence was Hampton Court, a very short distance up the River Thames, there was a Catholic nunnery called Sion Park. And the nuns at that monastery were so well respected that he said, no, I won't take that land away. I'm going to leave them because they're doing a very, very good job. Another case of those nuns' goodness, their kindness, their spiritual powers protected them during this time when all the other big monasteries were sacked. Their one was left alone and cared for. So there's a power of goodness in one's life, of kindness, of virtue. This is one of the reasons why, if one wants to achieve a good world, peace in your country, reconciliation between two different types of views, maybe we can try the Buddhist way of making peace, being kind, being gentle in this moment, being a good person, a kind person, a virtuous person. That gives you a strength which is often unassailable. So to do this, we meditate. So now if you'd like to close your eyes. With your eyes closed, you can feel this body. Sometimes there may be parts of the body making war with you. Your legs battling you, your tummy just having a fight with you because it's indigestion. And with the aches and pains you have in your body, sometimes your body might feel like a battlefield. Have a ceasefire. In the ceasefire, we're not trying to change anything. We're putting down our weapons of greed, hatred, and delusion, and letting things be. Finding peace in this moment. And we don't interfere with this moment. We find that peace is already there, always lingering in the background. So I make peace with my legs, relaxing them to the max. I'm no longer be fighting you, be caring for you. You're my friend, not my adversary. Care for my legs, and then they become so soft and easy. I sit there and I feel peaceful, relaxed. I make peace with my butt. Yeah, you have to bear a lot of weight. You know, people are quite willing to carry burdens for you if you're kind to them. So it's just I consider parts of my body like my friends, like beings. Always make sure they're okay. I straighten my back if it needs to, or sometimes I slump it when my back says, no, I need to slump. I never tell my body what to do. I listen to it, what it needs. It's like good government. Always listens to the people they serve. I'll deal with my back. Sometimes I feel like I'm the president of my body. But no, my body, if I don't care for it, my body just soon causes me so much problem. So I care for my body. It's the best way of governing your own body. But I also have to know my body too. And I don't follow what other people say. I don't listen to my advisors or look at the books. When I go up to my shoulders, I feel those shoulders. Get to know them. Get to know through direct experience rather than through the intermediaries of experts. I relax my shoulders. And this is direct experience of our shoulders which are loose, pain-free, no stress. Stress is when something is stretched or squashed. It's not in its natural, easy position. I make sure my shoulders are as relaxed as I possibly can be. I'm not perfect. I never demand perfection. I demand peace. Peace is achievable. Perfection is not. And then I go to my hands, down my arms to my hands, making sure my hands, I use them so much. Now I'm going to give you a rest. Make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to move the period of this meditation. Then up to my neck. Give it a good stretch. Neck says thank you. Your body appreciates you caring for it. Then to my facial muscles. The person is angry or revengeful, irate, or you can see that on their face. They look really ugly. If they are afraid, there's other muscles tense up. So I now loosen all those muscles, as many muscles as I can be aware of. I'm kind to them. Let go of both ends so they're not pulled and stretched. They're all loose. To my face, feel so at ease. That's where I look at my whole body. A unit. Relax every part as much as I can. If there's something I missed out or something I didn't spend enough time with, I give that extra attention. Until I get to this beautiful point which, it's a wonderful place in meditation, just the delight of a relaxed body. My body feels good. So I've been good to it. It's not perfect. It's relaxed enough to bring this perception of delight, having no burdens, no tightness, no tension, nothing to worry about. And I focus on that delight, the delight of relaxation. I do that because my body needs to feel something delightful. Otherwise it will go wandering after something else. Sometimes I feel like calling this not meditation, but meditainment, like infotainment. This is meditation, attainment. Entertaining, enjoying your moments of peace. And soon my body is relaxed so much, I turn to my mind, going inside. Because the mind, with all its thinking, may have a very relaxed, healthy body. But your mind, with its thinking and angry and planning and anxious, can do all sorts of problems. And that affects your body. I look at my mind, starting with the peace-ometer. How peaceful am I, Ajahn Brahm, right now? Give it a number from 1 to 10. 1 really peaceful, 10 anxious. You can change the scale if you want, but that's the one I use. I don't think I'm as peaceful as last week. So I look at that and realize present moment awareness, being now. Not concerned about what happened before. Knowing that the future is being made right now, so if I care for the future, I put all my attention now. I stay here, now. This is all I have. Just now. It's so trouble-free now. You realize that all the burdens of your life are not caused by politics, by unfairness, by pandemics. They're caused because you don't know how to stay in this moment. As you go deeper into this moment, you get this beautiful silence in the mind. There's no words, no noting. It's just bare experience. Enjoying this moment rather than giving it a name and starting a conversation inside. Silent awareness of now. When I was a student, we couldn't talk, we had to listen. I'm meditating. I don't talk inside. I listen. Silent awareness. For those of you who watch the breath will come up pretty quickly now. Not force the breath. That's going off into the future. In this moment, all you have is this breath occurring now. And you're silent with it. It's a friend. And good friends can sometimes be in each other's company for hours and not say a word. to feel comfortable in silence. See if one can feel comfortable in a silent being with your breath. Not trying to get anywhere, not trying to attain things. But let go of all of that wanting and desire causes the problems of the world. Letting go, not wanting. close to the end of the meditation now. How peaceful is your mind? How harmonious is it with this moment? Desire and ill will faded for a little while when you have a ceasefire. The different parts of your body are in harmony, at peace. How does it feel inside and in your body? Oh, now ring the gong, the way I used to do during retreats to end the meditation. It's a singing gong. Very good. The teddy bear and I, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bye bye.